What are you proud of, but can't tell anyone who knows you? That I wipe my grandma's butt for her. I take care of her full time, and I am really proud of myself for keeping her clean, happy and as healthy as she can be. Part of that entails showering her, and of course, helping her in the bathroom. It's weird to talk about with friends, since nobody really wants to hear about that obviously, but I feel proud of myself for helping her in her time of need. It gives me a weird sense of comfort knowing that my grandma doesn't have a dirty butt, lol. I walked in June 2013 for my bachelor's graduation. I was just 2 units shy of actually obtaining the degree. I told all my friends and family I graduated. Right at that time my mom got sick and I moved her out to me and took care of her the last 2 years of her life. I never went back to finish those 2 units. I enrolled this past September and just completed all the coursework for my degree. I now just have to submit my graduation application and I will have that piece of paper. I'm 33 and have been working towards it for 10 years now. I am 51 and my husband and I are having great intercourse. Maybe the best in our marriage. Most of my friends have stopped themselves or their partner has stopped. I can't fathom it. We work at it and it is like going out to play tennis or something. And yeah, no one wants to hear this. Use it or lose it. Doesn't really account for crap, but I haven't smoked in 2 days, which is not bad considering I was at a pack and a half a day for 15 years. Overcame H addiction and have been clean for 9 years. I just bought an engagement ring for my girlfriend. I'll be asking her later this month. Recently kicked a Xanax addiction no one in my life knew I had. That was hard. Today marks the first day of my road to recovery. It's my first 24 hours with no alcohol and I can't even remember how long. Very few people knew the extent of my drinking, so while I'd love to share it with everyone because I'm extremely proud, I can't really tell anyone close to me. I've lost 35 pounds so far. I still want to lose another 15-20, but I'm no longer overweight and my self-confidence is through the roof. Of course I still have to pretend it was unintentional and that I haven't lost as much as I really have, since my parents think that any sort of caloric restriction is anorexia nervosa. I ran for 30 minutes on a treadmill yesterday. Can't run on asphalt because my joints are crap. I can't tell anyone because it's not really a monumental achievement. Mine's is small in the grand scheme of things. Even in the small scheme of things it's not big either. I have told people of the event but not why I was proud of myself for it because I found it embarrassing. Years ago I was walking home from my university at about 11ish at night listening to music and I thought I heard a noise in the massive park beside me during a lull in the song. When I turned off my music I could hear crying and muffled screams. Now I've always thought it'd help someone in need but was never sure if I was all talk and just a coward at heart as I have always doubted myself. Well, once my mind took its time to understand the implications I vaulted the fence and beelined for the noise. When she came into view I saw the figure behind her. I hit it with such a force I tore through a massive bunch of shrubs and uprooted them. Turns out it was just a jacket she had got stuck, but haha. I got up, helped her up and recovered her jacket. Turned out she got into an argument with someone, ran away from them and had got lost and had fallen. So overall nothing as serious as what my mind thought at the time. I walked her to an address she gave me, contacted the police and went home. It's a small thing but it let me know I will run to a person's aid. I'm not a completely terrible person. Beating anorexia and gaining weight recently. I'm so proud of myself but I can't tell others cause they didn't know I had anorexia. It was my battle and I won. Slight exception, since a few people close to me know this story, but it's not exactly something you share at the dinner table. I guess I'm proud that I was able to help this woman find some peace about the situation though. A girl I followed on Tumblr wrote a suicide note. After a short moral dilemma, I attempted to dox her to her mother, but she did not respond. Long story short, some other followers managed to get the police involved, but she assured everyone that she was just venting and being dramatic online, and the matter was dropped. She committed suicide the next day. I sent flowers to the funeral, very far away, with an anonymous note. Months later, her mother responded to my attempted dox and ended up asking me a lot of questions about this girl with whom I'd only had small online interactions with. Why she'd do this and did people encourage her were the questions at the forefront, and I spent 2 hours at work messaging back and forth with her, telling her all I knew. At the end she thanked me and wrote that she would never wish this on anyone and begged anyone considering suicide to reconsider. So I double down on her request now. Don't let an internet stranger explain to your family why you're gone. I was on blah therapy a few months back. I was the listener and this kid was my venter. He was 14, living in England I think. His mom was on vacation and she had left him with his uncle, but his uncle touched him inappropriately. He wasn't sure what to do, but with some encouragement I got him to call his mother, and she was a good mom, so she came home immediately and had him continue staying with the friend he was with. He seemed kind of shaken up, completely understandably, so I stayed with him until 3 AM my time. I'm learning to become a great advocate for my kids' medical and educational needs. It seems like it should be easy as a parent sticking up for your kids, but in reality when someone with authority says, I know what's best, they're fine or they're getting the best we have, it's hard to say you're wrong. My daughter suffered with terrible eczema for almost 2 years because her first pediatrician kept telling us it was normal for babies to have it. We were on Medicaid. It was our first kid, and we didn't know how to argue. Turns out she was allergic to a litany of foods. Easy fix once we knew. Now she has behavioral issues in school. If we, but especially myself, hadn't learned to be strong, she never would have gotten the wonderful IEP and specialist team she has now, which has made a world of difference. When my son wasn't talking at 18 months, everyone said it's fine. It's normal. I made a fuss, uncomfortable as it was, and it turned out he wasn't hearing squat because he needed tubes. Now he's 2.5 and speaking full sentences daily. I grew up watching authority figures walk all over my mom. I let it happen to me most of my life. I'm really proud to be improving on that, especially for my kids. That I've managed to keep my job, despite having no idea what I'm doing. Everyone just assumes that I must be really good at it, because when they ask how it's going I always just say it's fine, everything's good, when in reality I'm surprised I haven't been fired yet. I played Neopets for way too long and I eventually traded my way to a UC Grey Calgary with a RN I created during a purge a few years ago. I was so happy that I was crying. Similar to what I was doing when I managed to create some epic purge names, and my roommate asked if I was okay. I couldn't manage to tell her why I was so happy. As a former Neopets employee, I think this is awesome. I'm really proud that I keep going, that I keep finding small, insignificant reasons to keep pushing through. Who would feed the dog? No one can cover my shift this weekend. My gaming buddy would never know what happened to me. It's too close to the holidays. It would ruin it for everyone. My best friend is really up on her luck lately. I can't tear her down. And it's hard. Every day feels worse and nothing is working. Everything keeps falling apart, and everyone expects me to be this happy-go-lucky person, and how do you explain to them that you can't anymore? I feel like the biggest burden, but I'm proud that even through everything I can still have hope that it will get better. I can at least be proud of that. Today I had the old double stream pee and didn't get a single drop outside the bowl. Honestly, I don't believe you. I went to an Overeaters Anonymous meeting last night. My first one, actually. I was out for a drive trying to keep myself from binging when it occurred to me to see if there was a meeting that I could attend. I pulled over, looked it up, and there was one about 20 miles away. I'd be 10 minutes late, but I decided to go anyways. I got there only 5 minutes late but stood around the corner from the meeting room for 15 minutes before I got the courage to walk in. I sat on a couch next to a gentleman old enough to be my grandfather, and I was the youngest one in there by a couple of decades. I didn't speak except to say my name when the leader asked, and I kept welling up with tears and breaking down. I think it was so overwhelming to just be there, to have taken that first step. And it was unbelievable to me to hear stories of others who have a similar relationship with food. I've applied to the police academy of my nearby big city and have already passed the written test and the oral interview. I didn't think it was likely that I'd pass either one, especially the oral interview, but I did. And I'm scheduled to take the physical test in less than 3 months. And I want so badly to be in law enforcement. My eating habits are keeping me from my dream. So I went to my first OA meeting last night, and it was harder than walking into that written test or the oral interview. Much scarier, but I freaking did it. I'm so happy I did. My D&D campaign. My family don't really care. It's not their fault. They just don't understand anything about it. I've just started a new job and I don't think I'm ready to drop that nerd bomb on them. And everyone else in my life are my friends and my fiance. And they are my players. I just want to discuss it with someone. I've been in a really bad place since I moved to grad school. My ex-boyfriend broke up with me just before I moved here and I haven't really had a high self-worth since. So I've been crying a lot and have had some low-key suicidal thoughts. A few of my friends know and they're here for me, but my family has no idea that I'm not completely happy. Anyway, I made an appointment to meet with a therapist. I'm finally trying to get help. And I'm really proud of myself for that. Frick it, I'll say it. I attempted suicide by trying to jump in front of a van. The instant I put my foot up front, my mind just switched to autopilot and I just jumped out of the way. I was in shock for a couple of days on the fact that I did attempt suicide. But now I am feeling better. Life's weird, man. That I keep a lot of other people's secrets and don't say crap. I'd rather those people handle their business than come to me about it, but I guess they know I can be trusted. I haven't done H in 6 months. People around me think that I don't even smoke weed. I'm not particularly good with girls and I moved to a new city earlier this year where my friend introduced me to a girl. We hit it off and started dating. Well, due to my aforementioned lack of skills with girls combined with going to a military academy and then a job that traveled all the time, it had been around 7 years since I had had a relationship. A few flings here and there but no relationships, and to be honest I was starting to feel like I was never going to meet anyone and end up alone. I was terrified of being that weird uncle to all my friends' kids that dies alone. Well, the relationship just didn't work. We had fundamental incompatibilities and I wasn't happy. She on the other hand was completely into me and probably would have married me after dating for only a few months had I asked. I ended the relationship. I'm really proud of myself for refusing to settle for a crappy relationship despite wanting someone in my life being one of my biggest desires right now. It wouldn't have been fair to myself, and more importantly it wouldn't have been fair to her to simply stay in the relationship waiting for something better to come along. Girlfriend and I finished at the same time the other night. Don't feel like anyone I know is interested, but I'm pretty excited about it. I have exercised 3,450 days in a row without skipping. I am 62 years old and I walk 3-4 miles a day, or work with my trainer, or lift weights. I love to be active and I think it keeps me healthy. I have a patient who herniated a disc in his back and is a blacksmith. He has insurance so I have to take it, but he has a copay and his wife works but they now have debt from a failed surgery for his condition. He couldn't afford the copay so I went to the gallery where he makes wrought iron art and bought it all so he can afford his copay and to keep his house. I'm sure you're all thinking, why not do it pro bono? The insurance world in my state country does not look kindly on not charging copays or denying someone insurance benefits when they pay it. I couldn't find any other way to help this guy without it being enticement to come in for treatment, and it was more to keep the stress off of a house payment during the Christmas season. So I paid more for his art than his insurance will ever pay me in hopes that he can keep his house and continue treatment. Either way, I did a good deed, but I can't even tell my wife because I'm not sure she'll be impressed by the sheer amount of money I spent on wrought iron candle holders and lamps that are hidden away in my office. A few things. I really enjoy helping people with computer stuff online. I'm a regular on a certain subs daily questions thread and proud of being able to help. Can't tell anyone in real life because I'd become their go-to tech support, and frankly, they don't treat me as well as the internet strangers I help. I started doing video game streaming earlier this year. I only really stream one game once per day, anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour or so typically. I started a YouTube channel to back up all my streams. Twitch exports, yay. I have next to no followers or subscribers. I forget about followers. 4 subs on YouTube, one of which is my brother, so no reason to be proud there. The real reason I'm so proud of myself is for sticking to it despite my horrible stage fright. Being in front of that camera every day is terrifying. The possibility that any number of people could see me do something stupid or make a mistake is terrifying. But that's really why I do it. Not just to see if it's fun like I told everyone. I wanted to force myself to face my fears every day, and I've done it. And I'm still doing it. See you tonight, Twitch. Man, there's a lot of heavy, serious answers on here. I was just gonna talk about how I can push my balls up in my stomach and push them back into my sack. Cutting ties with my emotionally manipulative and occasionally violent narcissistic father. Can't talk about it with close family because my mother is still choosing to live with him, and most family members cannot understand that someone can be so toxic with burst of violence that you can do nothing but completely sever contact. Can't talk about it with friends because they either take the "but it's your family" stance, or they feel like I'm trying to throw a pity party for myself when I talk about my childhood. I still collect UGR cards totaling over 750 of the most powerful and rare cards. I estimate the collection to be upwards of $5,000, but I am a collector, and collecting them is my passion. Definitely something that gets the ladies wet. If it doesn't work out with the ladies, I have a straight male cousin who'll definitely get wet over that. I have recently learned how to make pretty darn good cannabis butter and have a decent second income from making medibles. This grandma bakes great cookies that no one I know can sample. Please adopt me. Haven't injected in 3 days. Fighting the good fight that no one knows I'm fighting. I had 5 miscarriages last year. I am pregnant again, but this one is showing a heartbeat. My other pregnancies didn't, but I'm only 9 weeks along. But I am proud I didn't give up. My bad thoughts have subsided considerably and I haven't self-harmed since February. That I stopped smoking so much weed, but everyone I know had no idea how much weed I was smoking. Also, I am proud of how well I can fit in while baked as a Thanksgiving potato. But of course I can't really be bragging about that to my friends and family. I run an active and successful WoW guild for vanilla content. How many butt pics I get would get weird looks if I told anyone I roll. Sometimes I really nail my makeup game that day, or I put together an outfit that makes me look super cute, but I can't show off to anyone I know because I'm a guy in my real life. I wake up at 5 every morning, weekday and weekend. I shower, get myself ready, make my kids a complete breakfast including all of the food groups, wake them up, make myself a green smoothie, prepare my water for the day, 80 Oz, take my vitamins, and we go about our day. I can't tell anyone because I'm an butthole for thinking that I'm adulting better than them. I journal to myself a lot and write personal stories relating to my life. I like them but wouldn't share them to anyone I know. I started growing marijuana plants so that my uncle with Alzheimer and Parkinson could start doing everyday tasks like holding a cup of water or even to take a shower. You've been visited by the good sleep capybara. Upvote within the next 5 seconds and you will be blessed with cozy and restful sleeps. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.